Next subject.
Christian Walker. Dang.
Who is Christian Walker?
Herschel Walker's son.
Herschel Walker's son.
That dude ain't coming on this show. No. I'm not gonna sit there and listen to that. No, that's too long for me. That dude, when he gets to talking, he gets to talking. Hey, you know what? Maybe one day. Maybe next week. Ted Cruz gets booed again
in
Texas.
If you want to stop crime, let me tell you what actually works. And I've spent 10 years fighting for this. You target the bad guys. You target the criminals, the felons, the fugitives. You prosecute them, you put them in jail, you get them off the street. And you also enhance security at vulnerable targets. So I've introduced legislation repeatedly, and I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, I stood on the Senate floor and tried to pass legislation I've introduced that would double the number of police officers in schools, that would fund $15 billion. Okay, look, if you want to have a reasonable conversation, we can. I mean, if you want to yell at each other, we can. But if you actually look at the legislation I introduced, would have spent $10 billion to fund 15,000 new mental health counselors in schools. Because if you look at the troubled young men who commit these horrific crimes, more mental health counselors there could help hopefully stop them and identify them before they commit these horrific acts. I stood up on the Senate floor to pass this legislation. The Democrats objected. Chris Murphy stood up, the leading Democrat for gun control, and objected and said, no, we shouldn't enhance school security. The Democrats' interest, if they're not taking away firearms from you, from law-abiding citizens, they have zero interest. And by the way, you ought to watch that debate. I would encourage you, go see. You can go watch it go Google it and watch it. I stood up and laid out, if we want to keep our kids safe, and I desperately want to keep our kids safe, the most effective step we can do is have police officers there to protect them, who can intercept a mass murderer before he gets into the school and stop them. Okay, you're right. It didn't happen. And why didn't it happen? Because when that lunatic got to the school in Uvalde, there wasn't a police officer on campus. He was able to get in an open back door. He got into the classroom and was murdering kids before the police got there. And if you want to stop him, look, if you have a solution to stop the deranged, evil murderer, I'd love to hear it. My solution is throw him in jail and stop the felons, the fugitives, those with mental illness, stop them before they commit these crimes. There are some we won't know about beforehand, and the single best step to stop them is have armed officers on campus that can stop them before they kill our kids. But look, instead, you guys can instead sing Kumbaya with them and hope they'll just stop. But what you're proposing doesn't work.
Thank you, ma'am, in the back that said that. Why does he talk? That's another one. Just retire, go back to practicing law, leave the country, go back to Cuba, your homeland of your father. Do something else. Just go away. Don't talk no more. Just don't go away permanent. But he's such a liar. Oh my goodness. I propose legislation that would have mental health counselors. Really? Is that what you really did?
You cut $320 million out of the mental health in Texas.
Exactly. I'm so glad that lady said that. So what we're gonna do? Give them more guns so they can stand outside while mass shooters are going inside schools and shooting. Oh, I know. Let's close the doors. So if a fire breaks out, all the children are stuck inside. Oh gosh. Oh, they making my head hurt today. I was having a good day, and then you had to bring up this man. Why?
And nothing about, hey, let's do a registry. Hey, let's mark off those who we have actually decent background.
He's
Um,
false. Not his basic assumption. He's
it's just
false.
not everybody uses the background checks. That's the problem.
But he didn't even say anything. He's like, jail's the criminals. Does he know the difference between jail and prison? Jail is where you go if you get into a fight. Prison, which I think he was talking about, is where they put people away for things like drunk driving, mass shootings, etc. He kept saying, well, jail's the bad guys. Who defines who the bad guys are? The fugitives. Okay, if they're fugitives, they're on the run. That means you haven't caught them yet. What is he talking about? Oh gosh, the man literally makes my head hurt. I don't know who's worse, him or Lindsey Graham. It's between them two. They literally make my head hurt. Oh gosh. I'm just like, y'all, they just, yeah.
I wish the pair of them would go away. Go retire on an island.
I say put them all on one island. Trump can be ruler of the island. Just put them far away. Yeah, you want him to be your ruler. Move to this island and leave the rest of us alone.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal, Cruz.
That's what they say about us.
And Tracy hit on it. We need to target the bad guys. I'm paraphrasing because you try to make all these big, bold, the targets, the Lulus, the bad guys. How? Who? Who? Who are the bad guys? Because you literally said target. Target means that you have a specific agenda that you're trying to perceive. Pacific is angled towards. Who are the bad guys?
I wouldn't say since Ted Cruz identifies as white, I'll just say he knows it. He just doesn't. The NRA's paying him too much to acknowledge it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Parker. He knows it. He doesn't care. Abbott doesn't care.
Abbott, Cruz, none of them. Well, I'm not gonna say none of them, but none of the Republicans do.
They don't care.
And
I'm not getting on you, Parker, when I say that. He does know. What he's hoping is his constituents doesn't know. Because you're not going to sit here and try to explain to me that one cop could have stopped this guy from getting into it, so that's what we should have did. All the while, we got 5, 6 cops outside waiting.
No, it was more than 5. Wasn't it like 40? Like a bunch of them?
It was just a bunch of them.
Double digits?
Number, but it was more than the one that you won't station outside.
I mean, is he? No, I'm not even going to ask you, is he stupid? Because I already know the answer to that question. How much is the NRA giving him to say these things? Because it's got to be.
How much do y'all get paid for this?
I mean, it's got to be in the millions for him to just say stuff. He didn't say anything about background checks. I mean, he could have just said, we should have background checks. Of course, he's never going to say that. He's never going to say, push up the AR-15s or 25s or whatever they're called to 21. Nope. 400. Thank you, Mickey. I knew it was some ridiculously high number, and they did nothing. They stood there and did nothing.
That the 400 couldn't do it. So let's double it to $800.
Yeah, that's what
800 cops per school is going to prevent this. And hey, Cruz, I'm sorry. I want to read the budget where you somehow, some way find 800 cops per school, every school in Texas. I want you to find a budget to pay 800 cops per school in the biggest state in the United States.
No, that'd be California.
Well, Texas is bigger than California.
California has the most people. They got 52 electoral
Not
college.
People, just
you just mean in size. Yeah, then Texas is okay. I'm like, well, no, California's got more people.
I just want you to find the budget for this, buddy.
You
that's
couldn't
going to
even,
target the bad guys, the shooters, and all this sort of stuff.
but you couldn't even do that in a small state. What's the smallest state that we have? Rhode Island? No. Wyoming? You couldn't even do that in Wyoming. And all there are people live in one city in the state. Like, what is he talking about?
And by the way, it's so I won't forget. I just want to say this. You're real bold when you on stage, knowing what you're asking for is not capable of ever happening. So you're doing little sound bites. If you want to hold a conversation, we can hold a conversation, and you want to yell, you can yell. How we gonna hold a conversation when you're on stage?
No, that crowd wasn't.
It's a person-to-person conversation. Do you want to hold the conversation now, Cruz?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't because you're talking on stage.
You wanted to talk at them, not with them.
I'm just glad some people in that crowd didn't fall for his bonfoonery.
Yep.
That's what I'm glad about. I'm glad that lady brought up that point about the AK weapons. I'm really glad somebody did that.
The Madres are a badass group. They really are. They're getting a lot done. They're getting their own training. Yeah. The mothers.
I'm just going to end this segment by saying this. For Ted Cruz, for the love of the Second Amendment and people like that, I don't have a problem with you using the Second Amendment. It is a right. I don't have a right to say this right is okay, but this right is not. I don't have a problem with this. I'm just going to end this segment with this statement. When you're making bulletproof book bags and training your children for a possible guns shooters in your classroom, we have a problem.
They have a little piece of bulletproof. It can stick right in any universal backpack that you can at least shield your core, stick it underneath the shirt. Then the mothers have to teach them, put these blood pellets, bite down, spit it out, and act like you're dead. That's the conversation that our mothers are having with their children.
But he's okay to stand there and lie and say, I introduced legislation.
Yeah.
And where's Snowflake? He left Snowflake. He needs to stop going to he needs to go to Cancun. This is what he needs to do. Go to Cancun and stay there. Don't come back. Just stay there. Just, you know.
Right. It's about to get cold. He's finna leave.
Is he gonna leave the dog inside? Just left Snowflake in there. Didn't have no, I mean, just left the how you gonna not at least put the dog in a kennel? Like, dang, dude. You threw your babies under the bus. Your babies.
He threw everybody under the bus.
Your babies, Marlon. If you get in a situation, you politician.
He threw his wife under the bus. No, in this order, Tracy, he threw his wife under the bus.
When did he throw her under the bus?
Because she was first.
No, he just betrayed her. He just said he betrayed her. He was trying to act like he was defending her, but he really wasn't.
Yeah. He threw the wife under the bus. Then he moved on to the kids.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Then he moved on to the neighbors. I don't know where they came from.
The dog.
They just came from out of nowhere. I went, what? How did the neighbors get you to move your whole family to Cancun? For what? The dog.
This is why this is why he's the least liked senator.
Chavez, whoever he could think of. You know the reason why he left.
But you know who he never throws under the bus? He never throws Trump under the bus. Gee, I wonder why.
Oh no, because it was a private vacation. Well, that is our first hour. We will be moving on to our second hour where not only will we be doing Foxy's videos of the week, but we will have a new segment. And it's a new segment that everybody has been asking for the longest time. And there's going to be some rules and regulations for that new segment too. So we're going to take a 3-minute break for everybody to reboot and refresh. And we'll see you all on the